Hey there, my friend, welcome. I'm Dr. Anthony Balduzzi. I'm the founder here at the Fit Father Project, and today's video is going to be special. We're going to talk about the essential workout tips and things you need to be focusing on at every level of your workout journey, whether you're a beginner and you're just starting with workouts, or if you're more in the intermediate or advanced. There's different things that we need to focus on, and this is geared around workouts, whether your goal is to primarily lose fat or build muscle. There's going to be something for you to glean in here, and what we're going to do in the rest of this video, I want to break it down every single stage, and so you know exactly what to do. And if you're at the advanced stage, it's still a good idea to watch this video on the way through, because you'll get a chance to reflect on your own fitness journey and the kind of things that you focused on as you got to this stage. And if you're in the beginning and intermediate, this is a great video too, because you have an opportunity to look at what's forward, as well as some of the things that are important in the stage you're at right now, so you can actually implement better advice and get the results that you want. And first off, why should you listen to me and my Fit Father Project team? Well, first off, I have a big background in exercise myself. I was a former national champion bodybuilder. And here at the Fit Father Project, this is what we do every single day. We help busy guys lose weight, get back in shape. And we've helped over 10,000 followers lose over 75,000 pounds of fat and build muscle using a lot of the tips that we're gonna share with you in this video. So there's a lot here. Get out a pen and paper. You're gonna learn a ton, and let's dive on in.
FitFatherProject.com.
All right, so let's start from the beginning of your fitness journey. If you're a beginner, there are a couple foundational things you need to focus on. And the first thing is as it relates to strength training, which is an essential component of a workout plan. Whether your goal is to primarily lose weight or build muscle, strength training needs to be in there. And the thing we need to focus is we need to prioritize compound exercises. The best muscle building exercises are exercises that involve multiple joints and multiple large muscle groups at once. We call them compound exercises. So things like squats, deadlifts, rows, bench press, shoulder press. These are the best compound exercises. And as a beginner, that's what you need to focus on. You do not need to do leg extensions, single arm dumbbell curls, lateral raises for your shoulders. All that is crap. It's not what you need to do in the beginning of your journey. At the beginning of your journey, you need to get good at these compound movements. You need to learn the form, get the movement patterns down, and you need to get stronger. So I'm gonna jump ahead to point 3 here, is focusing on getting stronger is the best thing you can do in the beginning of your muscle building and fitness journey, because as we start to lift weights, the first changes that happen in our body as beginners is we don't build muscle immediately. We get more neurologically efficient. And what that means is that your central nervous system, all the nerves that run into your muscles and make those voluntary muscle contractions possible, it gets trained and improved as you lift weights. It gets more efficient at recruiting the muscle that you do have. It gets used to the muscle building movement patterns, and you get stronger as a result of your nervous system getting more efficient. So as you begin to strength train, you do these compound movements, focus on getting stronger. When you focus on getting a stronger squat, a stronger deadlift, a stronger bench press, a stronger row and shoulder press, you will start to build the muscle after your nervous system gets more efficient. And the best way to do this is point number 2, is as beginners, full body workouts are probably the best way to start, where you're doing a workout 2 to 3 times per week, where you're doing all these best compound exercises, let's say on a Monday, and then you're resting until Thursday or Friday to train again. You're giving yourself enough time to rest. Every time you get into the gym, you're doing these good compound movements and you're focusing on getting stronger. To build the muscle, you need to continuously use progressive resistance. So if you squatted, let's say 135 pounds as a beginner for, let's say, 5 reps, then the next time you get into the gym and let's say your goal was 5 reps, you're doing 3 sets of 5 reps, for example, then you gotta beat that. You gotta put on 140 or 145 pounds. Even small incremental gains on these compound movements are essential. Now, when you move into the intermediate phase, you've been training, let's say, for a year and a half, you got these compound movements down, you're seeing some changes starting to happen in your body, you're building some muscle, you're getting stronger. What do you need to focus on now? Well, first thing is you need to increase your volume and your intensity. So the 3 days of strength training in your beginning phase may need to turn into 4 days or maybe even 5 days. And there's so many ways to increase your volume and intensity. The first way is we can increase the number of sets you're doing in any given workout. And there is a limit to how far we want to want to push that. And the second way is we increase the frequency at which you train a muscle group. So let's say that you're normally hitting a muscle group once per week. We can increase that to hitting a muscle group twice per week. So that's a good strategy. And without getting too into the weeds, we'll start by talking about volume. Even increasing your number of sets by 1 or 2 per body part is enough to start getting your body adapting and progressing with the amount of volume you need. But what I would recommend is to avoid throwing 5-10 extra sets on your chest day, for example, if you do that, and instead spread that extra volume out throughout the week. So instead of doing 5-6 more sets of chest on one day, why don't you do 2-3 extra sets spaced throughout the week? That's going to give you an increase in the frequency that you're hitting a muscle group, as well as an increase in the volume. And this is a necessary thing to progress. You got to do more than you did before to keep things going. And I'm not saying that you go balls to the wall, overtrain, do 20 sets of chest. That's not the answer. I'm saying be smart, but we got to really start to ratchet up the volume and intensity. And one way to do that is with things like supersets, which is essentially pairing 2 antagonistic muscle groups, ideally like pairing your chest with your back so you can get more work done in less time. And I love it because one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's famous workouts was his chest back superset workout, where he would superset every set of chest with a set of back. So for example, it might be dumbbell bench press, superset immediately into a barbell row. Great. Or a standing shoulder press, superset with a pull-up. These are motions that are exact opposites of each other. They work antagonistic muscle groups. So really good idea to look at some kind of workouts where you can do supersets that'll increase your intensity. Another thing a lot of people don't realize or don't think about is in this intermediate phase, we're really gearing up your nervous system even more. And one of the best things you can do to get your nervous system more activated as you're lifting is to squeeze the living heck out of the barbells or the dumbbells. And this is some really cool stuff a lot of people don't talk about enough, is actually squeezing. The act of squeezing the crap out of a dumbbell or a barbell that you're working actually activates the stabilizing muscles and your nervous system to a higher degree than if your hand was kind of like more loosey-goosey. So this will immediately improve your strength if you start squeezing and focusing consciously as you're lifting on staying incredibly tight, squeezing those dumbbells, strong forceful contractions. The next thing is when we're in the intermediate phase, we need to start playing around with different angles. So when we were a beginner, we could get away with doing, your standard, dumbbell bench press, barbell squat, barbell deadlift, standing military press, something like that. When we get into the intermediate phase, this is when we want to start playing around with different angles. And so for example, if you were doing flat dumbbell bench press, let's start playing around with different angles. A low incline dumbbell bench press, a higher incline dumbbell bench press, a decline dumbbell bench press. And this is one way to add more volume to your training. So let's say you're typically only doing 3 sets of pressing motions, like a barbell bench press in your beginner phase. When you get into the intermediate, to get that little extra volume, you might want to include 2-3 sets of an incline dumbbell press. That would be a really good idea, so you get both an increase in volume and intensity as well as an increase in angles. You're hitting the muscle at a slightly different angle is a really good idea to focus on in the intermediate phase. And finally, when you're in your intermediate phase, it's better to have focused training blocks. So we got to start looking at your training in terms of planning out, okay, what are you focusing on for these next 8 weeks? Is it a strength primarily type of block where you're going to be doing higher weight, lower reps, larger rest in between sessions, or are you going to be doing more of a bodybuilding hypertrophy style training block where you might be doing more pump style training where you're lifting at like 60% of your 1 rep max and you're doing higher volume but you're not going necessarily to pure muscular failure. We got to start thinking about these training blocks. And if you want help designing training blocks, we do have an old school muscle building program that has some periodization around the training blocks that we recommend. That's perfect for guys who are in the beginner or intermediate stage. It's not truly appropriate for a true guy who's in an advanced stage. So that's our perfect segue. When you're in the advanced stage, you've been lifting for a number of years, probably at least 4 or 5 years. You've made a ton of gains, and at this point, your progress is slow. I consider people in the advanced stage who have at least a 2 times, if not 2.5 times body weight deadlift, at least a 1.5 times body weight bench press, and you can do at least, let's say 10 to 15 weighted pull-ups. This is like a truly advanced trainee who the progress from this point ends up being very slow in relation to the gains you made in the beginner intermediate phase. You've been training for a long time, and the focus needs to change. And the first thing is, I recommend for most advanced trainees, you're probably already doing at this point, is some undulating periodization. And what this means is, I described those focused training blocks in intermediate phase where, let's say you're focusing on strength for 8 to 12 weeks, and then you're focusing on maybe more of like a hypertrophy, muscle building phase. That's block periodization. We have one block, we have another block. What often works really well for a lot of advanced trainees is undulating periodization, where you're doing both strength and hypertrophy work or power and speed work all within the context of 1 week. So you might have a strength day or a power day on Monday, a hypertrophy day on Tuesday or Wednesday, and another type of day on Thursday, Friday, but you're doing both strength, power, and hypertrophy all in 1 week. And there is a lot of great, you can even Google undulating periodization. There are tons of great articles online on how to start doing that, but that's something to think about when you're in this advanced stage, as well as rep tempo. You may start doing this stuff in the intermediate stage, but really watching what your prescribed rep tempo is on every exercise and actually writing it out. So let's say we're doing a dumbbell bench press and we do a rep tempo of a 2-second eccentric. So we're lowering for 2, we're pausing for 1 second, we're exploding up and holding contraction for 1 second at the top. Knowing your rep tempo and tracking that stuff is really effective in the advanced stage, because you can standardize your reps, you can start to progress with higher quality reps and not just strictly lifting heavier weight every single workout, because it just doesn't work out that way. When you're in the advanced stage, you're not going to lift heavier weight every single workout, but you can improve the quality of your reps and stick to the tempo prescriptions in a better way. So that's something to think about. The next thing is really watching your central nervous system and incorporating some deload weeks. As you get more advanced and you can lift a high percentage of your 1 rep max, and that's heavy, and you're able to, let's say, do a triple on the squat at 85% of your 1 rep max, and you're lifting 425 pounds plus on your back, maybe way more if you're a very strong advanced trainer, it takes a big toll on your nervous system. So we need to focus a lot more on how taxed your nervous system is in this advanced stage. And there's a lot of cool ways to do that some pro athletes that we've worked with do. And the first thing is watching your heart rate in the morning. Get up, take your morning heart rate. If it's elevated above baseline by 5-10 beats, then it's a good indication that your nervous system is in a stressed state. And if that prolongs for a long period of time, you know you're not recovering adequately. So it's a good thing to track morning heart rate, as well as there's an awesome app that I like to use called CNS Tap Test, where it's actually done on your phone, and you actually just tap with a finger on your phone as many times as you possibly can in 15 seconds, and that's a really good indication of how primed your nervous system is. Some of the athletes in the former USSR in Russia used to do this to really gauge how well their nervous system was, because it's really a good, simple predictive tool where you can track how well you tap on the finger test. So a good, for example, in 15 seconds, getting like 72 taps is really good, but you might find that you get like 65 on one day and the next day you do it, you get 50. It's a huge indication that your nervous system is very taxed, so we might want to lay off a day, recover a little bit better, do some different kind of training so you're not just driving yourself into the ground. And as well as deload weeks. This is structured into your training where you take a week and you're lifting lighter and you're doing a lot more recovery work, a lot more mobility work. That becomes essential in your advanced stage. And the final thing I want to say is, when you're in the advanced stage and you're lifting heavy weights constantly, we need to really start thinking about joint-friendly exercises. And quite frankly, this is something we should think about in every stage of the fitness journey. It becomes even more important when you get so strong that you're bench pressing 350, 400 pounds. At that point, there is a much higher risk on your joints of getting hurt, of tearing a pec, of having a rotator cuff injury. So we need to maybe start switching over to exercises that are a little safer on your joints. So maybe that's a lower incline dumbbell bench press, as opposed to a barbell incline press. This is stuff to think about, and this is very body specific. An exercise that might be dangerous for me and my shoulders, based on by my build and makeup, might be fine for you. But just really look at the exercises that are beating yourself up, and try to find healthier substitutions that are going to keep you in the game for a long time. And I don't think we need to look any farther than looking at some of the strongest, biggest guys on the planet, like former Mr. Olympia, I think 8-time Ronnie Coleman, who now after retiring, and this guy used to squat and deadlift 800 pounds, regularly, huge guy, amazing training, now is having, I think 2-3 different hip spine surgeries, shoulder replacements, all sorts of stuff. This stuff takes a toll, especially as you lift heavier. And you can see that by looking at a lot of power lifters, top level guys, world's strongest men who, tear biceps, tear pecs. We got to think about the stuff when we get in the advanced stage. And setting yourself up. And what I want to say is as you're on this road, let's say you're somewhere in the beginner intermediate stage, this is why mastering these compound movements and training with free weights like the barbells and the dumbbells is just so essential for building your stabilizer muscles. Because if you're not focusing on this stuff early, when you get to this advanced stage, you have muscle imbalances, it's going to be very likely that you have some injury at some point that could set you back really far. So I hope this helps. This was a lot of info, but if you even gleaned 1 to 2 good tips from this and even started to give you some perspective, it's valuable. And just take 1 or 2 things from this video. And I need you to know, this is research-backed stuff, and it is also based on my personal experience and perspective. This is not like the end-all Bible of everything you need to look at in these different stages, but it is some good perspective stuff to start thinking about. And if you have other considerations and comments, if you find you're in these phases and you have other suggestions, comment below. Let's have a discussion. Just want to really start the dialogue and give you some good tips based on my career, helping a lot of clients. This is the kind of stuff that we focus on. So I hope you found this valuable. If you like this, definitely hit thumbs up and let us know on YouTube and hit subscribe. Here at the Fit Father Project YouTube channel, we publish hundreds of videos every single year and new videos every week on nutrition, training, fat loss, muscle building, and a lot of stuff for guys over 40. We specialize in that here at the Fit Father Project. And if you like this and you'd like to know on how to make some of these great compound exercises more joint friendly, which is appropriate for you whether you're a beginner or an advanced, we have the 5 best muscle building exercises and how to do them safely on aging shoulders, knees, low backs. That's a free video that we have. We'll send it straight to your email. You can click the links on this video in the description, in the article associated with this video. It's a great place to start where I'll be on camera in our gym here and running you through how to modify some of these best muscle building exercises to make them safer, to keep you in the game longer without injuries. So I hope you find that valuable too. Definitely download that. And I'm really looking forward to helping you out in a deeper way. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your attention. It says a lot about the quality of you as a person who is really interested in deep diving in this stuff. I can tell from watching this video up to this point that you're on a great path and you're on the right track to seeing great results, and me and my team would love to help you. So we'll see you in the next video, and I'll talk to you very soon, my friend.